showcase her lifestyle, which was, I wouldn't even say it's like normal. It's just really nice. Like she had a very nice lifestyle. She had just moved into this new luxury apartment, bought a ton of these like cute kitchenwares, and she would show everyone hacks on like how to do your laundry the right way, like what to check before you move into a new place. She also gave a lot of relationship advice. She would post motivational workout videos. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to imagine that she had a lot of young girls looking up to this seemingly perfect life online. So in one TikTok, she talked about her relationship and all the things that her boyfriend would do for her. It's kind of giving the audience the whole, this is what a man should do in a relationship. This is how you should be cared for. If he wanted to, he would type of advice video. She writes text in the TikTok while she shows off clips of him doing all these things for her. And it says, things my boyfriend does that have forever raised my standards. And then everything absolutely imploded. Kathy's boyfriend was wanted by Interpol for a double homicide, and Kathy Vu herself was arrested for tampering with a crime scene. Authorities would find a notes app on her phone filled with a list of cleaning supplies that they think was used in cleaning up the crime scene to a murder. A murder that allegedly, the authorities theorize, her boyfriend had committed. They also believe that her boyfriend bought her that MacBook very soon after. Social media has now stated that was her thank you for cleaning up the crime scene gift. Let's get into what happened.
The memory that you use to learn how to play tennis or pickleball or whatever you're playing. And it's not declarative. I can't declare how I do a backhand in tennis, but it is in your motor functions. And this is dependent on the striatum, and a motor-related structure. And then there's the prefrontal cortex, dependent on that working memory or scratch pad memory, keeping things in mind. So you and I are both trying to remember what we've just said so we can link it to things that we might say in the future.
One of the things that I found really interesting, both as a marketeer, but also as a podcaster and as someone that's making a lot of content and trying to get people's attention, was as I was reading through your work, it became quite clear to me that there's a bit of an overlap between memory and attention in many respects.
Absolutely.
You were talking about these 4 things that make facts or events memorable.
Yes.
And many of those things are things that I think about as a marketeer when I'm
went crawling on me the other day. I was playing in my garden. I was like, working on my garden. I got in the house and like sitting at my desk and like, see one crawling. I'm like, he didn't attach yet. But I was like, you dirty little.
They're coming out.
Yeah. So first, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Is there something called chronic Lyme disease? And why does traditional medicine not think there is and think everybody's just a whiner and complainer with psychological issues?
I think it's the concept of what is a disease, really. And Jeff Bland's book, The Disease Delusion, is how we look at disease. And most doctors are trained to think that when you have an infection, you have a fever, you're sick, you've got to take an antibiotic, lower the fever, and then it's done. And chronic Lyme disease is a stealth infection, and it's you mentioned before, it's really not Lyme disease, it's tick-borne illness. And so you have to think, not only could it possibly be
Okay, can we have a rational discussion about things like the fourth surge, variants, vaccines, and what we should do? Because I think we're all kind of tired of the fear mongering. Now, I'm not saying it's not fully, entirely inappropriate, because I think what's happened now is we have a situation with coronavirus, and by the way, leave your comments, leave your questions. We're doing this live. We have a situation with coronavirus where we've turned something that has a generally low fatality rate, but still will kill hundreds of thousands or millions of people if left to just rip through, has a low fatality rate, but is now preventable. It's now a preventable disease. And I'm not talking about masks and social distancing and washing hands, which probably have some effect. I'm talking about actually preventing the disease with a vaccine. So I think where CDC and the people with, I think, good intent, but they're probably the victims of a little bit of mission creep and safetyism, where it's like, we have to save every single human being we possibly.
I love science and engineering. These two pursuits are, to me, the most beautiful and powerful in the history of human civilization. Science is our journey, our fight for uncovering the laws of nature and leveraging them to understand the universe and to lessen the amount of suffering in the world. Some of the greatest human beings I've ever met, including most of my good friends, are scientists and engineers. Again, I love science. But science cannot flourish without epistemic humility, without debate, both in the pages of academic journals and in the public square, in good faith, long-form conversations. Agree or disagree, I believe Robert's voice should be part of the debate. To call him a conspiracy theorist and arrogantly dismiss everything he says without addressing it diminishes the public's trust in the scientific process. At the same time, dogmatic skepticism of
But your audience is not so much parents, it's younger people. So the message is, your parents and society have treated you like you're fragile, and that has actually made you fragile. And then you got put on social media, or you were allowed to get on social media when you were way too young, and it kind of warped your social development. And the result is skyrocketing rates of anxiety and depression. Just that. Yeah. Not schizophrenia, not bipolar. It's anxiety and depression comes kicking in around 2012, not just in America, but in Canada, England, Australia. It's a global thing, and so we'll talk about why.
I am not a big purchaser of books. I'm a big audiobook fan, but I have to be honest and give full disclosure. I bought 5 of your books. I've never really purchased a book, let alone 5. And I handed it out.
Never purchased. This is somebody's going to tweet this like he's never purchased a book.
I'm an Audible guy. The main reason why I'm so passionate about what you talk about in this book is that a lot of times we have people who want to achieve good things. Like you talk about good intentions setting up bad ideas. That's a common theme within this